here because you want engagement on your videos. But you know what? It's more than just engagement. You want comments. Like, let's just be real. That's what we are wanting. We are wanting comments. Okay, so I want to just spend a little bit of time and talk about why that's so important before we just jump into how do I get more of them, okay? So comments does a number of things for us. One, it validates us. Like there's just a little bit of people are liking what I'm putting out. And so there's a validation that happens. I'm picking good content. I'm putting it out there. People are wanting this. And it's not just about making us feel better about ourselves. Although let's be honest, there's a little bit of that, right? It's directional. It's like, I know I'm on the right track because people are responding. And so that helps you build momentum around it. Okay. So that's the first part. The second part is it actually helps us get bigger reach with our content. Okay. So this is talking a little bit about the algorithm. And I know there's lots of talk right now about, I don't want to be a slave to the algorithm and I don't want to make decisions based on the algorithm. I hear you, but what I want you to understand is why is it happening? Okay. What's behind it, if you will? So it's not that these platforms are out here saying, we're going to take over the world and we're going to drive this. We're going to make this happen. It's all based on data. They're looking at what are their users wanting, and then their job is to give more of that. So it's not an evil, nasty thing. It's serving a purpose. Each platform is like, I want to produce quality content. I want to put quality content in front of people's feeds so that people stay on our platform. That's their whole motivation, right? And so the only thing that they can look at is engagement. So when we look at a piece of content, whether it's a video or a post or anything like that, it's like, how well did this engage? And if there was good engagement, then we show it to more people because that's the indicator that there's a positive response to this piece of content. Okay, so that's likes, loves, and comments that help indicate this is good. Okay, I have a whole video on how the algorithm works. If you want it, let me know, and I'm happy to get it for you. So now you're understanding why comments matter, right? It matters for us, and it matters for reach so that we get more people seeing it. So more people are shown this video. It shows up in their feed. But how do comments help your audience? Think about that for a second. How does commenting for a person watching the video help them? Okay, it might help them. It might help them connect. It might help them feel like they're in the right spot, that somebody's here to help them. They might help them feel seen or heard, right? It helps them show up. It helps them be visible. It helps them internalize or make sense of a problem, right? And so there's this whole thing of like, if I actually type this, I've made it my own. There used to be a phrase, I don't know if they still say it in sales circles, but we used to say it all the time, like name the puppy. And the whole idea here was as soon as you name the puppy, it's yours. Like it's not going back. You've named it. You're now invested, right? So the idea here is when you get people to comment, they're internalizing what you're talking about. It makes it more real for them. So that's what's in it for them. Okay, now outside of why we want to comment, if you got questions on this, ask them. That's what I'm here for, right? Drop them in the comments, and I'll get to them. Where I want to go next is this idea of what are you doing? I'm gonna put this up on the screen here. Hold on. What are you giving them to engage on? And that's not meant to be a sneaky, tricky question or anything like that. I want you to honestly think and be like, what am I giving them inside my video that makes them want to comment? Because you've got to think about that. Oftentimes, what I see happening is that we become so focused on, here is what I want to say. Here is what I want to tell them. Here is what I want to teach. And we're so focused on that we stop and don't consider what it's like for them on the other side. What is it like for them to receive all of this? So one of the number one things that I tell people to do is think about, what are you giving your audience inside of your videos, and honestly, content too, that engages them, that pulls them in, that makes them want to participate with you. That's where you start. Okay. But what I want you to kind of think about is like what the answer that I get from people most of the time here is, well, it's one way. Of course I'm thinking about what I'm going to tell them, because it's not, if it's pre-recorded, it's not live. If it's a reel, it's not live. If I am live, I have nobody on. So why would I give nobody to engage on? And this is like one of the mistakes that we make, is that we are creating or planning that video based on our current status, not where we want to be. So you get into the whole, if a tree fell in the forest, would you hear it if nobody was there? It starts to get in your head, right? So what you have to do is you have to start to plan engagement even with nobody's there, because the people who are watching on replay are being engaged, and that's what you want. Okay. The other thing that's really helpful in this scenario is to think, rather than thinking about what you want to say and tell and teach, I want you to flip your own mindset. And I want you to think, I'm doing this video because I'm guiding or coaching or teaching in a way that I want participation. Okay. And so typically what that means is you've got to ask more questions. That's ultimately what's going on. You're not asking enough questions, or I will say pausing long enough to get people to actually engage with you. Okay, but I want to say this. Usually this isn't the problem. It is usually not this, because there's likely other stuff going on. But while we're here, let's just talk a minute about questions, okay? So in general, what you're wanting to figure out is, how do I ask the right questions? There's also a little bit in here, what's the right number of questions? How many questions? Where am I asking them? Like, all that has to be figured out, right? The second thing you've got to think about is, how do I make the question irresistible? I like to use the word juicy. Like, so juicy that I'm going to get off my lazy butt and I'm going to actually comment. Because you got to remember, your audience, we're just laying back here consuming content. We're just enjoying ourselves. So you've got to get us to want. It takes effort for us to type out on our phones, right? So it's got to be a good question. It's got to be irresistible. It's got to make me want to comment, or else I'm not going to, right? And there's kind of a snowball effect that happens, right? You start small and then it builds. So you've got to like break the seal, and you got to get people commenting first, and then more will happen, right? And then the last thing, and I kind of touched on this earlier, is you want to make sure that you are encouraging that commenting. What do I mean by this? You got to give them time. And that feels awkward to us because we're like, oh, right? So let's just do an experiment. I don't know how many people we have on here today, but let's just say, for example, right? I want you all to comment hi. Just comment hi. If I immediately go into something else, you've forgotten it because you don't want to miss what I'm talking about. So I've got to encourage you to be like, no, really, like right now, I want you to comment hi. Everybody who's on, whether you're live or otherwise, I want you to comment hi. Just type hi. And I'm going to sit here for a second. And I'm going to give you time to actually do that. It's awkward. As I'm sitting here, this is uncomfortable, right? And I'm not saying you're going to sit there for 30 seconds or a minute or 2 minutes, but long enough that people will start the action of like, okay, I'll comment. Because otherwise they don't want to. Okay, so this is all part of what you have to do with your questions. Now, I want to just drop this. If as I say these things, you're like, yeah, but I don't know how to do that. That is what we do in the 5K Club. This is my membership. Okay, if you want to learn how to do this the right way from start to finish, you want to be in the 5K Club. It's all about creating video. And we go beyond video. We talk about video, we talk about reels, we even get into workshops and challenges and lead magnets that are videos. But it is all about, how do you do them so that they work, so that you get results, so they're effective for you, so that you get the comments and the engagement that you want. That's what we're talking about here, okay? Now, here's what's important, and I want to come back to this because I think this is important. We often assume that where we feel the pain, that's where the problem is. Okay, so I look at my body of work and I think, I'm doing all of these posts and I'm doing all of these videos and I'm not getting any comments. So Jamie said I need to ask more questions. So the pain is, I'm not asking enough questions. I need to ask more questions. And this is like our fatal flaw. This is the number one mistake people make. They jump in and they're like, okay, I'm gonna fix this. Jamie said ask more questions. I'm gonna start asking more questions. I got it. And then that doesn't help. That doesn't actually fix the problem. And then you're sitting there like, Jamie told me this and it's not working, and I'm frustrated by this. I'm frustrated with her because she told me I got to ask better questions, and I asked better questions and it didn't work. It's because that's not where the pain was. Or that's where the pain was, that's not where the problem was. I said that backwards. That's not where the problem is, right? The problem was 2 or 3 beats ago. So what am I talking about here? I'm talking about things like, are you picking the right topics for your videos? Are you picking topics and naming them the right way so that people actually want them? Are you communicating it and messaging it right? Are you attracting the right people to those videos? Are you promoting it in the right way? All of that can contribute, right? If nobody is showing up to the live or the reel or the video or whatever it is, it may not be that you didn't ask enough questions. It may be that you got good questions, but nobody is there to listen to them. You gotta fix that first. Okay? So even if it's not that, what can it be? Are you grabbing attention? Are you keeping their attention? If not, they're not watching long enough to get to your really good question. So yes, you fixed a problem by asking more questions and giving people more to engage on, but that's not where the problem actually started. And that's what you've got to find first. That's what you got to find first. Okay. So if you have not yet grabbed my 12-minute video, it's called The Video Gap. It's completely free. There's no cost. It is going to guide you step by step into figuring out where is the real gap. Where's the real problem in my videos? What's the right thing that I need to be fixing in order to get all of the things that I want? Okay. So if you're watching, again, live or replay, type the word gap, in the comments, and I'll get you the link so you can get that one. Okay. Okay. Oh, here's another thing that could be going on. So back to the whole, what else is happening? Do you have an audience? Have you built a following? Are people wanting your content? Because it could even be clear back there. So see what I mean? Like, you're seeing that you're not getting comments, but there's all these steps before it that can contribute to why you're not getting comments now. And if you don't assess first, you're applying the wrong solution, the wrong fix to the problem that you actually have. So that video is about figuring out where that actually is. Okay. Now I will tell you, one of the indicators, one of the things you want to look at is your views and your watch time. So how many people are seeing this video and how long are they watching? That's much easier to find when it comes to pre-recorded videos and reels. When you're talking about lives, you got to kind of watch the eyeball as you're live to see, are people joining and then dropping off? And how fast is that happening? Like, all of that contributes. Okay. Okay. What ultimately comes up here in this space is, oops. I'll just leave it up. I thought I had another slide there, but I don't. What ultimately you're trying to assess for yourself is this a content problem or a presentation problem? Okay. So what I like to think of this is like, your content is the topic. It's the thing that you are talking about. So it is the peanut butter and jelly inside a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Are you picking the right peanut butter and jelly that people actually want to consume? That's content, okay? The bread is like the support around that. You can't eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich without bread or some sort of wrap, right? That's your structure. That's your presentation skills. So do you have a content problem or presentation skills? That's ultimately what we got to look at. And you might even have both. Both could be the issue here, right? Okay. This is what we do in the 5K Club. Okay. 5K Club is my membership. We're going to go step by step through both. So just to be like, what are we doing this week in the 5K Club? It is all about identifying ideal client, not just the demographics, but what she's thinking and feeling. Next week, we're going to take that information and we're going to apply it to picking better topics. How do we pick better topics for our posts and our videos and our content? Then we're going to get into how do we now plan this video so that it has the support and the structure it needs. Then we get into how do I drive more engagement and more participation and more comments? Because we have to go step by step so that we make sure that you are doing all of the foundational early things right before we even just add more questions and get right questions and all of that. So you see how one piece leads to the other? They're kind of like building blocks. Okay? Okay. Oh, there was my slide that I was looking for. Of course, there it is. Okay, so back to the 5K Club. This is right now it is $37 a month, $37 US. I've got a coupon code for you to get it to that price. If this is something you're interested in, send me a DM and I will get you the link and the coupon code and we'll get you set up and get you started. Okay? Okay. I had a question the other day about why do you call it the 5K Club? Because isn't small. Like I want to make more money than 5K. And I'm like, yeah, but here's the thing about 5K. Are you making 5K a week? Are you making 5K a day? Like the 5K club can grow as you grow. Isn't that cool? Okay. All right. One thing I wanted to give you here is a quick tip on, okay, Jamie, I hear you on questions. Maybe you're out there and you're watching this and you're like, I know that my problem is I'm not asking good questions. I know that that's it, the issue. Okay. I know I'm picking good topics. I know I have an audience. I'm building all of that. I know I'm grabbing attention. I'm keeping engaged. Like I can check all of those off. Okay. Now, what do you do? What do you do if it really truly is, I just need to get more people commenting? Okay. Here's my tip. Start with easier questions. Yes, no, on a scale from 1 to 10, give them an either or choice. Also, easy questions are things like comment this below. So if I were to say, hey, comment 5K club if you want more details on the 5K club. Everybody who wants details on the 5K club, gonna type in 5K club, right? Earlier, I said, if you want this 12-minute video, type the word gap. That's easy pull in of engagement. And honestly, once I've got people already typing, they'll honestly keep their phone here and they'll be like, okay, I'm ready to type some more. Okay. So again, think of it like that snowball. How do I start the momentum? How do I build it up? Easier questions first, and then you'll get more. See how that works? Okay. All right. Let me see what questions you got. Hold on. Let me go through and see if I got any questions. Okay. Christy says, what happens if you get no comments or hi or any at all? Okay, so I think this was back on, I said to everybody, I want you to type hi in the comments, okay? And so Christy's saying, well, what if nobody types hi? If you have people on with you live, right, and you know they're on with you live, call them out. Christy, I see you're out there. I haven't gotten a hi from you. Give me a hi. Try something like that, right? But what I wouldn't do is like, again, it goes back to, there's got to be a reason. So you're honestly probably sitting out there like, well, why am I typing hi? What's she going to do when I type hi? I don't want to type hi. I just want to sit here and enjoy this, right? So then you kind of go, okay, what I'm asking her to do is not juicy enough, not irresistible enough. Okay, so how can I make that request stronger? Okay, so if I say something like, hey, I have got 5 video gap strategy calls that I'm going to do next week. Who wants one of those 5 calls? I'm only going to do 5. Who wants one? Well, you're going to get a lot more people that say hi because now there's a reason to do it. Now that's specifically for a call, but you can even do it inside your video, is make sure they understand what's going to happen when they comment. Okay. Oftentimes we have conditioned our audience to not comment because for so long they've been watching our videos and we don't take a pause. We don't ask them anything. It's just do. So it takes a little bit of time, and it's like, just because you ask a question once and they don't, doesn't mean you give up. Keep trying. More questions, different questions. Try juicier questions. Easier questions first. Okay, hopefully that answers your question, Christy. Okay, I do not see any other questions. Okay, so I'm going to wrap us up today. One of the things that has come up a lot here recently is I've had a number of people, here, I can just take it off. I've had a number of people even inside of my program ask about building an audience. And like, and honestly, Christy, some of this could be that too. How do I get my audience to show up? How do I build an audience that actually wants to watch my videos, engage with me in this way? So I'm going to do a live in February and we're going to talk about it. The other thing that has come up a lot lately is, how am I generating leads? There seems to be a lot of pressure right now around, I got to get my social media working. Well, social media is only one way. You really need all the ways working. And so this is really when we start to get into what are the right revenue behaviors that we need to be practicing in order to start conversations. And so I'm trying to figure out whether I think we're probably going to do that in the 5K club. I just got to figure out when we're going to do that and when that fits in with everything else we got going. But I feel like it's an important topic that a lot of people just don't quite understand. If the only, let me say it this way. If the only way that you are getting leads is by posting on social media, you got like a one-legged stool. instead of a 3-legged stool. And you've got to be applying some of these other strategies, or it's just not stable. And that's probably leading to why you're feeling like you're feeling. So if that's something that's interesting to you and you want me to keep you posted when we're going to talk about those things, like drop me a line and I'll make sure to get you the information as I get that scheduled and figured out. Okay. I believe that is everything that I have planned today. So here's what I'm going to say, in closing, is that we all want more comments on our videos. We want more comments on our posts, right? And so oftentimes what we are applying is, how do I fix that problem? And then when we apply that fix and it doesn't work, we're frustrated. It's because we haven't done the work. We haven't pressed pause. We haven't been patient to dig into what's actually wrong. The analogy I used the other day was a plant. You've got a plant and it's droopy and it's not the right color. And so what do? We're like, I better water that more. And so we water it. And then we think, I'm just going to water it more and more and more and more. And the plant just gets worse and worse and worse because we're drowning it. That's what's happening in your videos. If your videos aren't getting you the results that you are wanting, you are likely fixing the wrong things in the wrong order. So if that is something you want to, I genuinely have 5 of those video strategy calls next week. If you want one, let me know. And we'll get on a call and we will specifically talk about your videos, where that gap might be and how we get you back on track. So if that's something you're interested in, let me know. All right. Thank you guys for being here. I have not yet figured out my whole schedule for lives for February. That's a task that I'm working on this weekend. So watch for that. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching the replay. Thanks for commenting and engaging. It always means so much to me when you do. And I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.